So first of all, let me tell you, I'm very excited to be here with you. After 3 years, I'm missing from India. I'm really, really happy. Again, Asiaone magazine made it possible. So I'm extremely excited. And for this reason, even if I prepare the question, I will have to read it because, well, I'm too happy to be here. So, as our public can see, we have a really interesting personality. And the topic for sure is very sensitive in this period. So let me start. Well, unfortunately, coming from Europe, this for me is a very sensitive question. This year, records are being broken in Europe for temperature and burn land, especially in Italy, my country. Europe has already endured a record amount of fire damage in 2022, as the continent has baked in extreme and unfortunately in some cases unprecedented high temperature. It is estimated that Australia's bushfire season now lasts for 130 days per year, counting almost 1 month in the previous years. That is extremely high. Climate change is affecting every country on every continent. I give you the example. Last year, currently I'm based in Turkey, in Istanbul, teaching in the university there, and there were the beautiful sea region full on fire, and it was tremendous. But unfortunately, this is the reality nowadays. It is quite significant that we need to collectively come forward and play our part in ameliorating the effect of this situation. Now, in which way do you think we can educate and we can manage this extremely dangerous and sad situation we are in? Please, sir.
See, all this climate change, bushfires, wildfires, tsunamis, earthquakes, pandemics are happening for a reason. The biggest culprit for all of this is humanity, the human beings. And the reason is we have forgotten the basic law of nature. The basic law of the nature is balance. The nature maintains balance in everything and it works towards achieving the balance. We must remember the ancient Indian philosophy, the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, told us very, very basic things. We every day recite mantras from Rig Veda and Yajurveda, Shanti Prithvi, Shanti Vanispatir, peace to nature, peace to air, peace to sea, water, fire. But we've forgotten it. We just chant all of this, but we don't realize what it meant. It meant we are made of the same elements as every other thing in the nature. We need to be in harmony with nature. We stop being in harmony. We try to control nature. Nature is mother. Nature has given birth to everything. As the Bhagavad Puran says, everything is born out of fire. The only constant element in the universe. Anywhere in the universe you will go, somewhere you will find water, somewhere you will find air, somewhere gas, something other. But there is only one element which is constant everywhere, fire. Fire gives birth, fire consumes all back. Everything comes from fire, goes back to fire. And that's nature. It reclaims whatever balance it has made. Now when the earth took shape, there was a certain amount of water. The water is constant, even today it's the same water. Then why is global warming happening? Why there is water scarcity? What happened to the water? We forgot that human body is 70% water. There are just too many humans. The water is stored for 70 years in a human body and it's gone out of circulation from the nature. It has to reclaim that water. In 1950 we were 2 billion, we are now 8 billion. And as per scientists, the earth can sustain only 9 billion people. Earth will have no more resources to support human beings because human beings are consuming everything. Vegetables, plants, animals, water, air. Now we are buying air because of lack of air. We were dying in COVID. We are buying water in these bottles. We are buying everything that nature has offered for free because it's going away. It's going away. Nature is taking it back. It has to keep its balance. It will send pandemics. It will send fire. It will send tsunami. And these are wake-up calls for us. We have stopped seeing the wake-up calls. We are just finding quick fix cures. We are finding vaccines. We are finding ways to put out the wildfire. It comes back. Ways to control tsunami. We don't control it. The idea is we have to educate ourselves. We have to reduce the number. Otherwise, nature will reduce us. So each family must have only one child. Some will opt for none. But that's the harsh reality. Unless the human population goes down, every other creature from this earth, the fish is going, the animals are getting extinct. Slowly, the water will become saline. We won't be able to drink it. Everything nature is taking back. So idea is to get educated, control ourselves. Only then nature will respect us. Only then the balance will be. Otherwise, nature will make the balance. It will reclaim.
I see our other friends that all of them were saying yes where you were talking. So I believe we are going to hear something that is going to agree with you quite much. Please.
Hello. I totally understand. Yes, there is a lot of issues we have caused. And a lot of the issues caused, it's actually us. We are the culprits. Absolutely no doubt about that. But the reality of the matter is, if I say I need to do something for the environment, I alone can't do anything. Rather, everyone in this room has to do something. And it's not just this room, everyone throughout the world. They need to play their part. Now, one of the things that I did notice during COVID, I fluctuate between London and India quite a lot. And during the lockdown, I spent some time in India, and I actually spent some time in the UK. Whilst I was in India, it was actually it was around about the 19th of March 2020 when the entire country was at a standstill. We had our first lockdown. But after 1 month, where I live in Chandigarh, I could hear the birds tweeting. I could see the mountains. You know, I could see Kasoli, and I could see other mountains in Himachal Pradesh, which I never knew existed so near. The sky was blue. I could breathe. Like a lot of us, we could breathe. There was no pollution at all. It was like nature was saying, guys, you have polluted me. You have made a mess of me. Now I'm going to penalize you. Then I went to London. I had the entire London at my disposal. There were times I was the only one jogging on the river. No one was there. Amazing. I could breathe. I really felt that my lungs were opening up and I needed that boost. Then after COVID, things started back to normal. And what we have not learned, we have actually polluted everything even more. Now, the flights, it's chaos. On the roads, it's hard to breathe. What's the solution? The solution is we need to do something. We need to adapt our life. Now, as an educationist, now I am the co-chair of the Satluj Group, which is one of the largest educational institutions in northern India. And I'm very proud to say that in our organization, right from an early stage, we teach children the importance about looking after the environment, the importance about caring for where you live. But what I feel, we are losing this battle because within the campuses of our schools, it's clean. We follow that. We have no plastic bottles. We can do so many other things. But when our children leave our gates and they're in the outside world, it's back to normal again. I know India is playing quite a leading role in terms of changing the environment. And I'm very proud to say that we are playing a leading role, but there's much more to be done. Much more to be done. Frankly speaking, at this present moment, we're only scratching the surface. We're only scratching the surface. Hence why Europe, we've had the hottest summer. In the UK, temperatures were 34, 35 degrees Celsius. And my friends were asking me in India, oh, it must be baking hot. I said, actually, in Chandigarh, it was 28 degrees Celsius.
Actually, it's
And
quite
in the
chilly
UK,
for
it was
the first time.
34, 38. It felt like the other way around. Now, of course, we have got the resources, the building materials as such. We could, even though it's because we're used to the heat in India. UK isn't. It was a nightmare. And likewise, a lot of other countries in Europe, they faced the same. Now, there we were, because living in the UK for so many years, whenever there was a bit of sunshine, I used to love it. But now people are sick and tired of it. They don't want the sun. They want the clouds to come back again. They want the rain. But for that, we need to do something. And all of us, I urge every single person sitting in this room, I know you're chatting away, I know it's very, very late, I can see your faces, we need to do something about it. Rather, I would say, please repeat after me. We need
need
to
to
do.
do.
Oh, come on, guys, better than that. I know you've had your drinks. Let's start again. We
We
need
need
to
to
do
something
something
for
for our
our
beautiful planet.
beautiful planet.
And let's do it now. Let's shun these bottles, first of all. They shouldn't be here in the first place. Thank you very much.
Well, very passionate. I love it. But on your note, I'm really interested in, because you talk about children and so on, to give the word and see how she's going to complete your thoughts. Miss Sirisha.
Thank you, Dr. Paula, and thank you both of you for setting the context so beautifully, and also you got the audience back to us. So thank you very much. Climate issues in today's world definitely is very alarming, and for us especially, the question is really, are we doing enough? And I grew up in India my whole life, but I lived in Vancouver, Canada for some part of my life. I studied there, I also worked there for a bit, and I learned that we should be doing way more than just promoting nature. By that I mean creating awareness or creating campaigns, raising awareness is just simply not enough. And here, bringing back the educational context, I come from a group of K-12 schools, and we also run an early learning center called Rural Years. And 4 years back, what we did, even before the pandemic, was that we realized that, environment is really, crucial and important, and we've been talking about it a lot. But how do we actually bring about the change? And we being in the educational, field, we thought that we have the best kind of advantage because we are grooming an entire nation. We are grooming young children to become responsible citizens. So if the children can, think of, impacting positively towards the environment and change the behavior, nothing like it. And so we looked at altering the pedagogy, altering the curriculum and the practices. Although like you said, from the beginning we've been always having a clean campus. Everything is good. We're practicing sustainable, having sustainable practices as part of the campus. But when children went out, it has already, always been trouble for them to practice outside. So what we did was brought them into year-round projects. And children they called themselves zero heroes, like superheroes, and planet protectors. And as young as, we were surprised seeing as young as, 6-year-olds to 14, 15-year-olds being so responsible, because the teams were divided into 4. They had to go back home and, bring that change in their family, which is what is really challenging, because children actually take it more seriously than adults. Right? And they had to bring that change about. So right from as small as, segregating waste and not using plastic bottles and, using an alternative. They literally stopped even the educators, the teachers, to actually, not use their paper cups for tea, or, they asked them to bring their mugs to school. And so many different initiatives like this, and that, the last 4 years we've seen amazing projects that the children themselves, initiated. and they've literally, found a piece of land that was about to be encroached, and they said, why can't we actually plant trees here, and they made a forest from the school's name, and over 60,000 plants were planted. And we also adopted a ward where the children actually went to households personally and talked to them about waste segregation and the responsibility, and we partnered with the corporation in the city, and the children touched more than 1,000 households by making sure that they follow those practices, not just telling them what to do, but following those practices. And children have been such amazing change agents and bringing that impact in the city. And now, again, after COVID, it's so difficult to see that the garbage we see around and everything, it's become a lot more because of the one-use masks and so many different things. So I think primary point is that as adults, we don't take ownership in terms of building a greener future, but now it's really in our hands. As we have to think about children as being our future.
It's beautiful, because I strongly agree with you. It's the pedagogy that should be changed.
Yeah.
The idea that the man is not the center.
Yeah.
To change this anthropomorphic idea of the universe for which the man is at the center, but on the contrary, see each other as equal. Something completely connected, not vertical anymore, but exactly plane.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ramya. A lot has been talked about, how we have been destroying nature. I think this topic just reminds me of the book Sapiens, where I think which clearly demonstrates how human civilization has over time actually been destroying Mother Nature and actually destroying the balance. But I think let's also be positive and not just look at the aspect of destruction. Being a lawyer, my natural inclination is to look at the legal framework. Is there any framework at all which actually is an enabler and which would possibly result in a positive outcome? Of course, we've done a lot to destroy nature. It would take time, perhaps, for us to now give back to nature and possibly try and bring back the balance. But I must say that, India as a country has taken a lot of initiative towards, zero carbon neutrality or carbon neutrality. We have an ambitious target of 2070 to achieve carbon neutrality. And towards this end, there have been a lot of policy changes which have happened. One of them, I would think, would be the ESG, Environment, Social Governance guidelines. Of course, these guidelines were in place on a voluntary basis. The Ministry of Company Affairs had formulated them in 2011. But now they've become mandatory for listed companies, top listed companies by way of top 1,000 listed companies by way of market capitalization. This is definitely important because, a lot of times there has to be a push, there has to be a carrot and a stick. That's when everything works. Of course, we do things voluntarily, but also it's important to have a mandatory framework where it's being made aware, companies are made aware that, ESG is an important component, that only if you are an ESG company, would you possibly be making an impact. And in the ESG guidelines, very clearly, it's not just financial parameters, it's also non-financial parameters about sustainable goals. How are you building an environmentally sustainable business? So all this helps in creating awareness because this forms a part of the annual report. The shareholders also, then become aware of what their company is doing. Of course, this is again only at the listed level. But I would think going forward, all companies should take these into account because I think more and more investors are now becoming conscious about these non-financial parameters. In fact, some statistics I was just seeing which actually showed that if you invest, if you are an ESG compliant company, your returns are far higher, possibly even your stock market performance is higher than otherwise. And of course, we do have all the EV, electric vehicle policy, which again is seen putting a lot of thrust on electric vehicles rather than the conventional, form of vehicles. Renewable energy, actually, where again there is a thrust, that is also another area which would definitely help in promoting a more balanced Earth and a balanced planet. Yeah, that was my 2 bits. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, thank you very much because we open up really different road that will take us a few days to explore. So, forgive me for my brevity in this moment, but because I really love India, and unfortunately it's true. This kind of situation, this climate situation, at the end of the day, everything odd that is happening in the world is tricks the people that, the place where poverty and people that are in needs are, for the majority. Now, I love my India. I love this country. So I would like to ask you your opinion about this matter. How can we somehow protect also the part of the society? Because...
Can I answer that
Yeah,
question?
please.
It's very typical straight away. No one's bothered. We're having such a major discussion. I know we're running late for dinner, but I don't think people are bothered. It's like the Unga Punga effect. You listen from one side, you take it out on the other. Till we don't listen, till we don't do something about it, and it's quite obvious, nothing is going to happen. We can have these discussions. There was the Earthshot Prize that took place a couple of months ago in Glasgow in the UK. Again, a similar situation. People come on the stage, they talk about it, leaders, we say big things. We as educationists, we try our best as well. But till everyone plays a part, and I keep on using that word, nothing's going to happen. I have seen in so many places where people clean their shop fronts, clean their offices, but they put the garbage in someone else's office or someone else's shop front. That's not fair. And then that person puts the garbage to the next shop, and then it piles up right at the end somewhere. And then everyone says, that's not my responsibility. Oh, my place is clean, now that's it. It doesn't work that way. We all need to play our part. And for that, we need to listen. Listening is the main thing. If we don't listen, we're not going to do something. And I don't think we realize that it's an alarming situation. We're actually at a crash landing situation till we do something about it.
I'll just add to the argument. I'll give you a data. In the last 50 years, from 2 billion, we came to 8 billion. By the time the next 50 years we're targeting for carbon neutrality, will be 15 billion. There'll be no grains left to eat. Humans will be eating humans. We will have no dinner plates to hold, no grain, nothing to eat in our plates. We'll be murdering our neighbors and eating them alive. That's the situation we're going to be unless we wake up, realize, stop, and correct. We are in a situation where the earth needs surgery. It needs to cut down on creatures which are taking away the resources, and there is only one creature, human beings. We are taking away the resources, and nature is going to claim it back. We have to realize it and wake up.
Well, thank you very much for really, we open a universe here. Each one of you open, well, 4 different, much more to be honest, in my opinion, a lot of universe. Thank you very much for what you said. To be honest, I listen very much. Well, I have a newborn daughter, so I have to now. So I really thank you very much for your time, and I'm sorry if I took a lot of your time.
It was just the timing, food time. I can understand.
Thank you again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.